everyone. Welcome to
Good.
our meet. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our meeting, our Toastmasters meeting for the November. I'd like to greet every one of you all here. Thank you all for joining us. We have a very special meeting today. We look forward to hearing speeches and a special presentation from uh, Tara as well. Also, like to warmly welcome our Timod. She is taking on this role for the first time today. I know she's going to do well. She is going to do well, and we're going to give you feedback so you're going to grow in this role. And we really look forward to hearing so much about your wonderful team. It seems very inspiring. So, Adi, I would now like to hand control of the meeting over to you so you can guide us through this Toastmasters meeting. Adi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alan. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. If we have any among us this afternoon. My name is Adi Odidi, and I have the honor of being your Toastmaster of the day. The role of the Toastmaster is to ensure the meeting flows smoothly and on time and to introduce each session and speaker in a way that makes everybody feel supported and engaged. I'll be your guide through today's agenda, and I hope you all leave feeling inspired and motivated. So, our theme for today's meeting is gratitude and Thanksgiving, a theme that I believe resonates deeply with all of us. In our busy life, it's easy to overlook the small moment that brings joy and meaning. But when we pause to give thanks, even briefly, we invite a powerful shift into our life. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you, it's a way of seeing, it's about recognizing the people who support us, the experience that shape our lives, and the lessons that help us to grow. Each moment of gratitude enriches our life, reminding us of our connection that define our journey. So today, I invite you all to reflect on what you are grateful for. Maybe reach out to someone who has made a difference and let them know. When we express gratitude, we not only lift others up, but create a more joyful life for ourselves. So thank you for letting me share that moment of gratitude with all of you. So before we begin, I would like to introduce that team that will help us with today's meeting. Our general evaluator today is Toastmaster Alan, and the general evaluator oversees the evaluation and will provide feedback on how the meeting went at the end. I will now hand over to the general evaluator to introduce his tag team. Toastmaster Alan, over to you.
Thank you, Adi, Toastmaster of today. For the benefit of our members and guests, I am the general evaluator and I conduct the evaluation portion of the meeting. I will be calling on the team to assist me because this is a huge job and they will help me give feedback to our speakers and at the end of which I will evaluate the entire meeting as well at the end. Today we have one prepared speech by Kerry and she will receive a silent evaluation from one of our members after this meeting has concluded. The evaluation team is also supported by an art counter, grammarian, and a timer. Playing all of those roles today is our superhuman Edwin Flores, who will take us through a brief description of what each of those roles will entail. Edwin?
Thank you for that, Toastmaster Alan. Yes, so I will be playing multiple parts today. As grammarian, I will be looking at speech, making sure that speech is being used correctly. As the odd counter, I'll be checking for how many times an individual uses correct words like or like, making sure I denote them and let them know their count at the end of the session. And as timer, I will be timing each session, starting with if we do table topics, I will be timing the table topics. Typically, table topics will go no longer than 2 minutes. At the 1 minute mark, I'll erase the green card. As you can see on my screen, at the 1 minute, 30 seconds, I will erase the yellow card. And at 2 minutes, I will erase the red card. For our prepared speech, it will be given by Carrie. The speech should be no longer than 7 minutes in length. At the 5 minute mark, I will erase the green card. At the 6 minute mark, I will erase the yellow card. And at the 7 minute, I will erase the red card. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Edwin. Now hand control over the meeting back to our Toastmaster today.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alan. Now let's us move to the prepare speeches section of the meeting. Our speakers, they have prepared speeches on various topics, and each has specific objective they're working towards to achieve. Our first speaker for today is Carrie Omer. Carrie Omer is user experience strategist, research and designer with 15 years of experience creating digital solutions for US government. The financial services industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and the big tech. She grew up in Nebraska and has lived in both the West Coast and East Coast. I met many fascinating people along the way. Today's speech is a level 3 persuasive influence elective speech, which is tied to a new metaphor. Please help me welcome Carrie Omer, a new metaphor.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. I know many of you have known me for a while now, but you may not know that when I was 20 years old, I thought I was going to kill 2 kids. I mean, not on purpose, mind you, in an accident. But you see, I was driving the bus, and the flat front of the bus and the flat front of the minivan were going to hit because I was driving and I couldn't stop. I thought I was going to kill those kids. I had nowhere to swerve to. I was driving the bus for my college, the University of Iowa, the week before Christmas, and my bus hit a van that hit a car that hit a car. It was a little traumatic, not just for me, but you know what? Nobody died. Nobody was even hurt. It was almost a relief afterwards to get fired, so I didn't have to face the responsibility for so many lives again. But after a suitable time, I got back on the horse of driving. I still love driving. I've driven across large states. I've driven up and down the eastern and western seaboard, and even once across the country. I still love driving, but now I want to drive an electric car. I want to drive something that is environmentally friendly and something that's quiet and something that's less maintenance and more fun. Did you know that there are already 3 million electric vehicles registered in the US? And we're projected to have almost 30 million by 2030. Well, to charge those vehicles right now, there is about 6 major and several more minor charging networks that are across the country. The thing with charging, though, is that charging can take a long time. Most charge stations require you to use their app. You never know if a charge station's occupied or if the charge station's going to be vandalized, if there is even a charge station where you're going. So how do I get rid of this anxiety over where to find charging and how to know if it's available or working? Well, I need that confidence before I can commit to buying an electric car, and I don't have it, but I know how to get it. You might be old enough to remember that Reese's Peanut Butter Cup commercial. Remember, 2 great tastes that taste great together? So my startup idea brings together elements that already exist into a new configuration. I'm going to leverage the idea of searching and paying for parking like you would with an app like Spot Hero, and renting out your personal space like you would with Airbnb, so that people with electric vehicles can easily find and reserve a space to charge at someone's private residence. This solves the issues of dramatically increasing the number of charging places available, the ability to find charging stations, guaranteeing a space and time to charge, guaranteeing that the charger is functional. this way, somebody who has the ability to charge an electric vehicle at their residence can make a little bit of money back on their utility bill. And the person who needs to have a guaranteed place to charge their car can rest a little more easily and plan with more success. They can plan their trip, they can plan their arrival time, they can plan their charge time. The one thing that really still needs to be resolved is, what do you do when your car is charging at someone's house? And I have a plan for that too. You might recall during the pandemic how Pokemon Go kind of exploded as people needed to get out of the house. I'm envisioning including in our app a fun collaborative game that will be based off of psychologist Arthur Aaron's research on the 36 questions that can help you fall in love. Now, I'm not trying to be a matchmaker here, but what I am trying to do is help people connect and recognize the shared humanity in each other. As you've probably recognized, there is a lot of loneliness and anger in America right now. And this game could be that small, pervasive game we need to pull the threads of our communities together. As Mark Twain noted, travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. And many of our people sorely need it on these accounts. So I have a vision for electric vehicle travel and helping people find connection with others. And the phrase that first popped into my mind when trying to explain this is that I'm going to kill two birds with one stone. But really, that is not the right metaphor for this vision. Instead, I'm going to feed two bees with one flower. You know, bees are essential to growing all of our food. They travel immense distances, and they live in close-knit communities, and they communicate with each other about how to get to their food a long ways away. And they communicate by dancing. So my business startup, Be There, will leverage technology and mental models that we already have to increase the confidence of people who want to move into an electric vehicle. And this is a low-effort way to help them connect with each other in a meaningful way. So yes, I am telling you my plan, but I'm also asking you not to share it with anyone yet. I'm working on funding, and I need some practicing for my pitch. What I really want from you is feedback. Feedback is a gift. I need feedback on my presentation, on the underlying idea, and I also need some volunteers who will help me test my prototype. So I'm going to put my email for this project into our chat, and I'll look forward to hearing from you in as formal or informal a manner as you think, as you like. And I would like to know your opinions and your willingness to be a tester for my prototype. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Toastmaster Kerry. Thank you so much for that inspirational speech. A new metaphor. What a great speech. And thank you for sharing that story with us. What a great way to start a meeting, to open a meeting. Power of connecting with other people, and exploring other opportunities. Our second speaker is Tara Oman. Tara Oman has been a Toastmaster since 2011, and she's a member of two clubs, Global Business Leader and IFC Toastmasters. She has completed her dynamic leadership part and level 3 of motivational strategies. She was in the first cohort of club officers trained on base camp on Monday, that was this week, by Toastmasters International Headquarters. And she will be sharing information from that training with us today. The title of her speech is Welcome to the New Base Camp. Welcome to the new base camp, Toastmaster Tara.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. I appreciate the introduction. I will keep my own timing. I don't know how well I'll be able to see the screen during this presentation, but I want to encourage everyone to say this newest iteration of Basecamp is fantastic. This brief presentation today is to encourage all of us to get in there and try it out. For our newer members, what I want to explain about Basecamp is that we have a learning curriculum called Pathways, which of course you've heard about, read about, and probably gone into already. Pathways sits inside of this commercial platform called Basecamp. We had this two-plus week outage that happened just recently, and everything was relaunched a few days ago. It is going to make life easier. What I'm going to do quickly in the next 10 minutes is tell you how it will make life easier and give you some pictures from that. Hopefully this will inspire you to get in there and try it out. I will give some screenshots here from the training that we just received on Monday. One of the first features that you'll notice has changed. We used to have many paths. Now we have 6, the 6 that are on display right here. The Basecamp platform will now recommend to most people who join Toastmasters, it will put out there and say, hey, why don't you try the presentation mastery path? Because many of our new members come in with the idea that they want to improve their speaking skills. Presentation mastery is going to be that boot camp to get all of your skills up to speed. Now we know that our experienced members, maybe some have done that, but you may come in because you already have a growth plan in your professional life or your personal life. And you may be coming to Toastmasters to really focus in a particular area. And these other paths are that opportunity to do so. I'm doing motivational strategies because that meets some of what I need to do in my personal life right now, and others may have your own needs. But what I want to focus on with this particular slide here is that there's a core curriculum that really does span them all. You don't lose out by choosing number 2, 3, 4, all of these things that are up here. You won't lose out. Your core presentation skills are certainly going to be enforced across all of these. That being said, when you get into those levels 3, 4, and 5 electives, here's where you're going to start to see some of the differences as the pathway moves you towards projects directly related to that specialty. What will you see? Well, this is the Toastmasters International page where you get to sign in with your credential once you've become a paid member. For those, if you have not yet chosen a path, you will have the chance to choose a path. You'll see that tile, which has a circle around it. There will not be a charge if you're just coming and selecting for the first time. No worries. If you've already selected when you come in, you'll see over there the Basecamp tile. And so you'll go right into Basecamp from that. So that will be visible to you. If you are new, especially you haven't chosen yet, you have this selection process to choose a path. The nice thing about these 2 tiles on this page is you'll see that on the left-hand side, you can just pull up all the 6. And if you know what you want, click it and you're in. If you haven't decided, there's a little tile on the right, take an assessment. This is a wonderful self-assessment. It's 10 or 12 minutes of your time. And if you want to go through and answer some questions, you can get a personalized recommendation. But the selection is in your hands. No one's going to force you. Pick a skill, pick a path, and move on and get on into this system. This is a fictitious page that you're looking at right here. So this is Henry, the made-up person, who has already selected. Henry actually has 2 paths active. Most of you now, if you log in here, you're going to see the one path that you're working on. You'll see some, I don't know, the suggested learning, how much this is going to be populated, but over time, suggested learnings are things that Toastmasters can push out to the membership. But for right now, our focus is going to be right here on this page, picking your active tile to move you into the system. You will first see the screen. Here is a path. And you can see that there are 5 levels. This is what everyone has in common. All the paths have these 5 levels. Each level has 3 or 4 projects. It depends on what that level has for that particular skill. I want to right now clarify that I'm going to use the word projects going forward. And in levels 1, 2, and 3, a speech is a project, pretty much. So speech, project, same thing. What you will see in those higher levels, 3, 4, and 5 have those electives. different kind of focused projects. Some of those electives are not necessarily a speech per se. It might be to facilitate an online panel. It might be to start a podcast. There can be a range of projects or electives at that higher level that will be a little bit different. So the word project can be inclusive of either a speech or some other type of higher level endeavor that takes more work. I do want to emphasize you will have a start button for the first time you get into this. You'll see that right there. However, if you are already in the system, and many of this crowd here are, you'll have a resume button. And that resume button is what you'll click to get to this view. This view is so helpful. This is one of the big changes in the navigation, is that this left-hand panel now is always visible and your navigation is always going to be present there and easy to see. You won't be messing around with the drop-down menus that used to be hard to find. These elements are much more helpful. This icebreaker project is something everybody works on. You can even be working on an icebreaker before you get into pathways. So it's a great thing to show you here. And what I want to emphasize is that all the first page of the project will put all of these downloadable resources right at your fingertips, right at the get-go. If you're in a rush and you just want to say, hey, let me open my project, grab these resources onto my local machine, and then I have to go on a trip or go travel or go about my day. Luckily, you can have all these documents now at your fingertips on your local machine. Feel free to make use of this. Again, much quicker and easier for you to get into these resources. Sorry, I'm zooming here because I'm trying to we'll have a time for questions at the end of it. What this little slide, this is a little off script from the Toastmasters International presentation. But what I wanted to say to our Global Business Leaders Club is the overall framework of this system is really that all of these resources and tabs are really across 3 exercises, right? The very most important one here is the educational files. The navigation menu on the left will take you step by step through the concept that you're working on. And then in addition to that, step number 2, assessment process, is a little different from our old system. This is going to be new for you, and I'll show you a screenshot of this. This is the self-assessment that you will go through. Each project, you will say, what do I want to learn from this project? And then afterwards, you will personally reflect as to whether you have gained that skill or improved that skill for yourself. So item number 2 is your self-assessment. And then lastly, number 3 here, evaluation, is having another member evaluate you, right? And we'll look at the evaluation screen. I'm about to show you all these details. It's a lot of details, but really these are the concepts, right? The main thing for you to know is you will learn about the project, you will use it for your own benefit, and lastly, you'll get some feedback from another person. This is what a self-assessment looks like. We're again using this icebreaker project because everyone here uses it. This assessment page says, first of all, you start off with the icebreaker and you put a list of the things that you already know how to do, and then you populate the things that you wonder about how to do. This is really where you do your own decision-making about how the icebreaker will help you. And so these are some examples here, but you are actually going to fill these in. The add new item button is for you yourself to say, hey, I know this, but I want to know something else. And at the end of your project, you will see your own text displayed. Hey, I already know this. I was wondering about this. Now I'm going to reflect as to whether I learned or got to practice the thing I needed, right? So this is it's a change to the process. You used to do little screens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not now. You yourself will direct and then figure out and reflect as to whether you improved the skill that you wanted to improve. We'll all be new to this. It's a little strange, but I think it's going to work out pretty interesting and also going to give us more control as speakers. There will be a couple other reflection questions not listed here, but don't worry, they will come up on the screen and you'll get to enjoy those. This brand new thing allows us to send evaluation forms in the system to our other members. So this is optional though. I think right now our club typically has the Toastmaster of the day try to get that evaluation form over to the evaluator. But we will, in due time, as we learn the system, we also have the option to put our speech title, our date, and pick from our club. See, there's an option here for multiple clubs, but we can pick from global business leaders who we know will be our evaluator, and we can, within the system, send it over. I think that's a more advanced approach, but we'll try that over time. And then at the end, it's really important. This is, again, similar, but will be easier in this new system. Once you have completed your icebreaker or whatever project, you will have a Complete My Project button right here to click on that will allow our Vice President Education, Alan, to see that completion. Do want to emphasize that not only does each project have a completion button, but each level has a completion button, right? So level 1 completion, level 2, etc. So those, you'll complete each project, you'll complete each level. Level 5 has the biggest step because you have to do a reflection on the process out to the club, which is a way that you as a speaker help to mentor the other members as well. And we're close on time, so I'll just have a couple more slides here and then I'll take a couple questions. The electives, as you can see here, this is a level 3 example on the screen. At level 3, when your electives come into play, you can, within this tab, pick the 2, right? This one says, you circled in red, we have 2 projects for this particular level. And I can pick the 2 projects and they will populate all of the steps in my left-hand navigation bar. But you're not locked in. You can pick the projects, put them in. If you want to take one out, you can deselect it and go to another elective. So very flexible system. But the nice thing is your electives will then show up in that left-hand navigation just where you want them to be. Couple bells and whistles. I really, really like that the top of this is our dashboard that everything started from. We have a little bell at the top of it. And anytime that bell is highlighted or has a number, it means you've gotten feedback from a club member or you've gotten a step completed. So when you get into Basecamp, check your bell. See what is most relevant to you today. There's a bookmark on every single page. If you're in a project, you need to jet off to something else, just bookmark and come right on back to it next time you log in. This is again, the learning dashboard. In addition to the paths, which is what we explored today, you have a little achievements page where little badges will populate. That's really one new feature is these badges can go into your social media feed. So let's say you finish level 1 or level 2 or whatever you're at. You finish it, you can actually populate this right over to LinkedIn, Facebook, anything like that. That's a brand new feature that's available. Feedback forms, I touched on that. We'll go more into that in the future. As I said, this is something that we'll move towards probably in the coming months, but maybe not right today, but this is a great thing to have inside the system. And lastly, I wanted to ask if there are any questions today. Sorry, I had to run quickly through this, but do you have any questions about getting started right now? And I do want to say, based on your questions, Alan or I or both of us can tag team or do a special session oriented towards new members or any problems that you have. So, any questions within this group today?
No questions from me, but I do like how everything looks a bit cleaner than it was before. I never really thought about it because I always complained that every time you do a new part, the first few levels are always the same, and you have so many speeches to prepare to get through those levels, and it's so much of a drag. But I think reframing it into the perspective that, yes, I know this, but I wonder how I can maybe that's helping or that could help someone to think about what to do differently in a new path, especially when you're in the early projects, the level 1s and the level 2s. So that's interesting. I will have to check it out. I have not been able to log on yet, but I definitely need to log on and check it out and approve your thing. I did not approve it yet. I will get that done.
No problem. Yes, Alan, I think you really hit on something. When you go back and you're doing an icebreaker again on your second path, Go ahead and pick a skill. Say, I need the skill of audiovisual aids and my icebreaker, I've got to work on that. Pick the thing that matters to you and put that in as what you're trying to do. Maybe you're just trying to go off script. Maybe what you need to do is give that icebreaker with no notes in front of you. Go ahead and pick that as
Hmm.
yours.
I agree. I agree. And I like how you can enter details of the speeches. It'll be good if in some future release that Toastmaster International could integrate that with the club's web page infrastructure in some way that it can automatically generate the agendas and send them out to membership, because that's going to make it so much easier and cleaner, maybe for better record keeping as well. So maybe it's something that they can work on. I think there are a couple other questions, so
Yeah,
I'll let the
Haisha.
team get
I
to
saw
it.
Haisha's hand first and then Tanya. So Haisha, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I'm trying to oh, someone will. Okay. I had a question because this is very new to me. So I'm coming in and I guess I'm representing all the people newly signing on for one. So I don't have the privilege of maybe a dose of the for how it was before. But I had gone in, I selected a path. It happens to be one of the ones that's no longer available. So I had a little bit of progress on one, and now I don't know what to do next, only because it still shows that same strategic relationships path, but a line of note underneath it saying this is no longer available for purchase, and which means there's not going to be any updates or navigation supported in it. So I feel stuck. So I don't know, do I come out and do another path? Do I proceed with this one? It's not really giving me much. So just wondering what my next steps would be for any other new person that might be in that role.
Well, that's a great point because you already chose it. No, they don't want people in them, but all the people that are in them now actually do get to still use them. But what we could do is log on, one to one, so that I don't really know what you see in the way of messaging, but in the training on Monday, they emphasize everyone who's already in a legacy, they're calling them legacy paths. The legacy path people can still see and will get to do any of the projects in there. So there's no restart or anything like that. You are protected. But what I don't know is exactly if your navigation matches what I just showed. So we'd have to do that offline, or Alan could do that with you, or we can all do it together so we can kind of learn together. But that would be great. But the legacy ones outside of those 6 are still going to be allowed, and including there's even a couple legacy languages that they have dropped going forward. But the legacy languages are still available for those who are in the program.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Sarah?
Yeah, I just have one. Well, first, it's a comment and a request, really. Firstly, I can really see your passion with this, Tara, and I really, really do appreciate it. Being new, relatively new as well, although I've completed a level, I didn't understand that you could, I thought you had to do your speeches exactly in the order that you have to do it. I just thought you had to do it, and sometimes you get stuck. So with this new website, I'm wondering if we could take one of our, when we have a 5-week and we have a third meeting, where members who, it's like a check-in time where people say, well, here I am, this is what it is, da, 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 I'm stuck here. And then it's kind of like a work-in session where we can, yourself and Alan, really kind of help us through. I think it would be very inspiring and motivating for members to attend, because people want to move, and sometimes they feel like, one, they're not sure if to bother somebody, and then 2, they don't really have the time to coordinate a time with someone to be able to help them, or their mentor might be really super busy and they're not able to do that. So I'm just wondering if that is possible.
I think that's a great idea. So we could do a workshop, and it could even be with a small number of people. Like you said, those people who have navigation problems, or trying to, maybe each person could share the screen so we can see what they see. I think a workshop is possible. Another opportunity for that, like you said, that kind of extra day that we get, or even for a regular meeting. Remember, in the past, we've sometimes done speechathons where everybody comes in and we just try to get knock out 6 speeches in the hour. We could also reactivate that to help people get progressed, hopefully through to the end of their level 1s and so forth. So I think doing a base camp in the platform workshop is as an opportunity. There are even a couple things that I need to double check for myself, right? Like, I don't know, I saved all my stored speeches, but is there a good file system for that? I know that my evaluations can be stored in the system, but I want to see, like, where can I put my speeches? I like keeping all of the documents in one place, right? So yeah, I think I can tentatively say I think you're really onto something that we do in intensive in-house workshop that we don't need to record that, but we just work and everybody gets on screen and says, hey, I'm looking at this now. How do I do this? Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tara. Thank you for showing us how the new Basecamp looks like and how it works. And I think it would be good if we can have a workshop on it for especially for the new members, because with what you showed today, I saw so many new things that I think I'm motivated now to log in and navigate around Basecamp, because since they changed it, I've not really gone into check. But I think it will be beneficial for all of us and also for the new members to see how to navigate through the new Basecamp. If that can be organized, that would be great. Thank you. And next, I don't think, do we still have time for table topics? Toastmaster Taya?
Okay,
next.
I'm happy to do table topics, but we can check in with Toastmaster Edwin timer and see if we do have time.
How are we doing on time, Toastmaster Edwin?
I believe we can do a quick table topic, no more than 5 minutes, if we are not doing evaluations. I believe evaluations are silent today, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So next we have the table topic segment, a fun and spontaneous session of our meeting. And table topics is kind of help us to practice speaking off the cuff and thinking quickly on a fly. So leading our table topic session for today is Toastmaster Taya Rahim.
Okay, I am very excited to our Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Ade, selected an absolutely wonderful theme for us, and therefore, let's look at how we give thanks. There we go. So table topic number 1. And you know what? I think that we could just raise hand and jump in if you feel this one resonates with you and you'd like to share. What's something in nature that you're grateful for and why? Ade?
Yes, one thing I'm grateful for is that I'm alive, I'm well, I'm healthy. And so I do appreciate God for that.
Great. Recognizing Toastmaster Carrie.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tanya. I would like to express my gratitude in a small but fervent way for potatoes. That is my comfort food that has any flavor, any time, any place. You don't eat them raw, but you can cook them so many ways. So please, everybody, remember, potatoes are the way.
Wonderful. Okay. Wonderful. Potatoes. Toastmaster Haisha.
I'd like to express that I am grateful for the ability to watch the lives of the birds that are outside my window. This past Christmas, one of the gifts that I requested or put on my list, if people would so be inclined, was this bird feeder that's attached to your window. So I have a bird feeder that is attached to the other side of the window, just beyond the computer, and I get the opportunity daily to watch them feast on the food that I pick out for them. And it's very much a time of peace and calm and understanding that they have their food prepared for them. And I cook for yet another member of this household, inside or out. So I am grateful for the birds that are outside. No squirrels. The squirrels have not come. And I'm grateful because this is a feeder that's supposed to be anti-squirrels. And I keep anticipating that they might come. And I would hope that they don't, so the birds can continue to feast. So that is what I'm grateful for.
Wonderful. And I'm sure they make a beautiful sound as well with their singing. Nice. Great idea. Potatoes, bird feeder. Wow. Let's have a look at another one. If gratitude were to have a color, what color would it be and why?
Mm.
Who's ready to jump in? What color would it be and why?
I'll take a go at this one. So I think if gratitude were a color, it would really be maybe a bright orange or red color. And for me, it represents the ripeness of fruits. And that's when fruit is said to be at its peak, flavor, nutrition, and it's so delicious. So I remember mangoes. That's what I crave. And unfortunately, the mangoes that I get here now is not as delicious as the ones back in Trinidad. And I also started to grow peppers because I miss my pepper sauce. So I have a huge what do you call it, bounty of peppers that I grew over the summer, and I'm repaying. I think I have enough peppers to make some hot sauce for the rest of the year, and maybe even for the next year. I'm so grateful for that. And those peppers, you need to pick them when they were bright orange or red, deep red, so that you get the deepest flavor and everything that goes along with it. Thank you, Toastmaster, Tabletop Toastmaster.
Thank you for that, Alan. And the next time I bite into an orange mango, I'll be grateful that I'm able to have it because I know now that you're not where you are, Alan. I did see Carrie's hand go up.
Thank you, Toastmaster. I was actually thinking of a very different color. I was thinking when I'm feeling gratitude, I'm usually feeling very calm, sometimes relieved. So to me, a calm, relieved color is sort of like a dusky teal. And it's to me very soothing and very relaxing and lets you be in the moment. For me, a lot of times the thoughts of gratitude are being in the moment is when you are often most grateful, when you are present and you're able to just exist without regrets from the past or worries for the future. So to me, that's my calm color, that dusky, dark teal. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Dusky dark teal. Wonderful. Hi, Sean.
When I think of gratitude, I think about being young and little at the dinner table, and how the first thing that was said to us was to bow your head and close your eyes so we can give grace to the meal. And so for me, the color would be black because we close our eyes and everything goes dark. And that is the moment in that I remember just being thankful for the food that is in front of us, being thankful for the family all being at the table and being able to be safe and to be near each other. And so the color that I feel that most represents gratitude, just reflecting on my past, would be black because of that absence of color and all of our eyes being closed. Thank you. And I turn it back over to you, Madam Toastmaster. I forgot what it's called. Table talks, table topics. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that perspective. Whenever you close your eyes, it means that you could feel a sense of calm and gratitude. And as Carrie pointed out, being in the moment. And as our well-able timer has pointed out, that would be the last one, all we have time for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating. And I'd like to hand over the virtual baton to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Taya. And thank you to all who participated. That was a great session, and I hope you all enjoy thinking about Thanksgiving and being grateful. So now I think the evaluation is going to be, you're going to send the evaluation to Kerry privately by email because of time. So I'll now hand over to the general evaluator to kind of provide us with feedback on the overall meeting and the role players. Please welcome back our general evaluator, Toastmaster Alan.
Alan, you're muted.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Thank you, Kerry, for pointing that out as well. As part of our evaluation segment, let's go straight into our team reports. So I'd like to ask Edward to join us and give his reports for all of the 3 roles, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alan. So I will start off with the time. So we had 2 prepared speeches today. The first one was Carrie. Your total time was 6 minutes and 25 seconds, which landed between the time limit you had. Tara, your speech was you were aiming for 12 minutes. Your speech without questions was 14 minutes, 23 seconds. With the question portion incorporated, you were at 20 minutes, 54 seconds. In terms of table topics, everybody participated, which was great. The only 2 individuals who were able to go past the 1-minute mark today were Haisha and Alan. So congratulations. Thank you for sharing your opinions on those beautiful questions. Next, moving over to the counter. The only time I heard an was during Tara's speech, but I believe it was due to the red card. You saw that there was very limited time, so you're just rushing through it. So I think it was more of an instead of an and then in terms of my grammarian role, I didn't hear any improper use of grammar, but I did write down a metaphor that I really enjoyed, which was Carrie's metaphor that was, instead of killing 2 birds with 1 stone, you were feeding 2 bees with 1 flower. So back to you, Toastmaster Alan.
Thank you, Toastmaster Edwin. I will now evaluate our entire meeting. First of all, let me congratulate Toastmaster Ade on a job well done on the first time as the Toastmaster of the day. Ade, you did a really, really good job. I love the way that you helped the meeting to flow. You introduced your theme. We all got what the theme meant to you. And you did work with Twania to help generate those table topics questions. So it really fit. And this meeting, I think I felt very, very cohesive and with the theme and what was expected of everyone in here. If there's one piece of advice I'd give you is that if you can and make sure to follow the flow of the agenda items. We were supposed to have table topics before Tara's speech, and that's okay. I just say this because unless there was agreement between you and Tara herself, if Tara's speech was being evaluated by the speech evaluator, you want to make sure that that evaluator is also ready and not expecting that speech to happen at a different time in the meeting. So that's the only recommendation I would say. And if there is an agreement between you and Tara to make a switch, let us all know as well so that we're all kept on the same page. But overall, I think you did a really, really good job. And I look forward to you being Toastmaster of the day at another meeting in the future. I also want to give thanks to Tara for that special presentation. It was supposed to be the following meeting, but you had your plans and you offered to do it this week. I'm really grateful for that. It really does help us understand a bit more about what the new base camp is, and I do encourage everyone to look into it. On our timeliness, I think we started a few minutes late, and that's because we had to wait for some persons to show up and follow all of the rules that we had. So I'm appreciative of us coming together to have this meeting. There were no guests at this meeting. That's fine. Let's get some guests for next week. And I think we did a pretty good job today, guys, given all of the events that has been happening around us. Thank you, and I now hand you back to Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Alan, for your valuable feedback and observation. So sorry I wasn't looking at the agenda because I was thinking after everything in my brain. But before we'll close for today, I'd like to thank all our speakers, role players, And special thanks goes to also our table talkies and the people that organize and contribute to the team to make this meeting a successful one. With that, I'll now hand over back to the VPE, Toastmaster Alan, to close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again, Adi. Just before I close, I took notes of the suggestions that were raised at this meeting. So yes, I think we could have another speechathon before the end of the year. Most likely, I think the first meeting in December. We'll put that out to the group and try to get that agenda out as quickly as possible so that we have as many speeches as we can get. Let's all try to do a speech before the year is done, a proper speech. So, meaning a prepared speech, sorry, so that we can get on the books once again. I like the idea of that check-in session. So maybe our last meeting for the year, maybe that could be a check-in session. We'll see how that goes. Again, I'll put it out to the group and get feedback on it. And that should give us everyone enough time to log on to the new Basecamp and get some time to browse through the different menus and see what they like, what they don't like, what they need help with, so that we can be a bit productive for that checkup session. And I think that's all we have for today. Once again, thank you everyone for joining.
Thank
I look
you.
forward to seeing you guys at our next meeting, which would be in November 21st. November 21st. Take care, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, bye.